I found a bathroom cabinet unlocked one Tuesday morning in spring, and inside was $1,200 in cash I'd never seen before. My name is Owen, and for 6 years I believed I knew everything about my wife Eva. I worked as a private security guard until I was laid off 8 months ago during budget cuts. Eva worked as a dental in La Habra, steady income, reliable schedule. We lived in a modest 2-bedroom house on Cypress Street, with a yard I'd started neglecting since losing my job. I'd always wanted a big family. Growing up as an only child in a quiet house, I dreamed of chaos. Kids running around, laughter at the dinner table, maybe 4 or 5 little ones calling me dad. Eva knew this. On our wedding day, she'd whispered, "We'll fill this world with our babies." But 6 years later, every time I brought up starting a family, she'd deflect. "Not yet, Owen. Let's wait until we're more stable." That spring, something shifted. Eva started disappearing. Not physically at first. She was there in the house, sleeping beside me, eating breakfast across the table. But her mind had relocated somewhere I couldn't follow. She'd stare at her phone with a smile I hadn't seen in years, the kind of smile that used to be reserved for me. Then came the spending. Our joint account started hemorrhaging money. $200 at a salon in Brea. $350 for new clothes at a boutique in Fullerton. $180 for a massage spa I'd never heard her mention. When I asked about it, she'd shrug. "I'm investing in myself, Owen. Is that a crime?" I'm not proud of what I did next, but unemployment had given me time and desperation had given me motivation. I started tracking her. Not with GPS or anything high-tech. I couldn't afford that anymore. Just old-fashioned observation. Eva claimed she'd joined a gym. "Trying to get healthier," she said, kissing my cheek before leaving at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday. The gym closed at 10 p.m. according to their website. Eva came home at 11:47 p.m. "Traffic was terrible," she explained, "but La Habra doesn't have terrible traffic at midnight." I called the gym the next day, pretending to be considering membership. "Do you have an Eva Patterson registered here?" I asked the front desk worker. "Let me check." "No, sorry. No one by that name." My hands went numb. That's when I found the cash in the bathroom cabinet, money she was clearly hiding from our joint account, stored in an old makeup bag behind toilet paper rolls. I didn't touch it. I wanted to see what she'd do with it. 2 days later, I followed her. She left the house at 5:30 p.m. on Friday, telling me she was meeting her friend Cecilia for dinner. I waited 15 minutes, then drove my old Honda in the same direction. She didn't go to any restaurant. Instead, she pulled into the parking lot of a fitness center called Peak Performance in Fullerton, about 20 minutes from our house. I parked across the street and watched. Eva walked inside like she owned the place, and 10 minutes later, she came out with a man. Tall, athletic build, dark hair. He put his hand on the small of her back, a gesture so intimate it made my stomach turn. They drove separately to a holiday in 2 miles away. I sat in my car for 90 minutes, watching the window of room 237 where I'd seen the light turn on. The light in my marriage had gone out somewhere along the way, and I'd been too blind to notice when. When Eva finally left the hotel at 9:15 p.m., I drove home before she did and pretended to be watching television. She came in smelling of unfamiliar soap, her hair damp. "How was Cecilia?" I asked. "Great. We talked for hours." I nodded. "That's nice." The next morning, I went back to Peak Performance. The guy at the front desk was young, probably college-aged. "Hey, I'm looking for a trainer," I said. "My buddy recommended someone here, but I forgot his name. Tall guy, dark hair, works evenings." "That's probably Thomas," the kid said. "He's one of our best. Specializes in personal training. Want me to book you a consultation?" "No thanks. Just wanted to confirm." Thomas. Now the enemy had a name. I spent the weekend planning. I thought about confronting her immediately, but something stopped me. Maybe I needed to understand the full scope of what I'd lost. Maybe I was torturing myself. Probably both. On Monday, I created a fake Facebook profile using a stock photo of a reasonably attractive woman. I named her Nicole Anderson and sent Thomas a friend request. He accepted within an hour. His profile was public, photos of him at the gym, hiking trails, beach volleyball. And there, buried in his photos from 3 weeks ago, was Eva. They were at a restaurant in Anaheim, her hand on his arm, both smiling like teenagers. The caption read, "Good times with good people." She was one of his good people. I screenshot everything. Then I dug deeper into his profile. Thomas wasn't just a trainer. He was a serial relationship hopper based on his relationship status changes. Single in January, in a relationship in February, not with Eva, single again in March, then nothing current. He was 29 years old, 6 years younger than Eva, 9 years younger than me. My wife was having an affair with a man-child who probably couldn't spell commitment. That Tuesday, I went to the bank and opened a separate account, transferring half of what remained in our joint savings. It wasn't much, $3 but it was something. Then I visited a lawyer named Christian Reeves whose office was above a dry cleaner in La Habra. I need to file for divorce, I told him. Christian was sympathetic but straightforward. California is a no-fault state. The infidelity doesn't matter much legally, but it matters personally. Do you have proof? I showed him the screenshots, the bank statements, everything. This is thorough, he said. Look, Owen, this is going to be straightforward. 6 years married, no kids, no significant assets beyond the house. You'll likely split everything 50-50, unless she wants to negotiate differently. The process takes 6 months minimum. I want to move fast. Then let's get started. That evening I cooked dinner, spaghetti carbonara, Eva's favorite. She came home at 7 p.m., looking surprised. What's the occasion? She asked. No occasion. Just felt like cooking. We ate in near silence. I watched her push pasta around her plate, checking her phone every few minutes. Eva, I said finally. Do you love me? She looked up, startled. What kind of question is that? A simple one. Of course I love you, Owen. Do you want to have children with me? Her face changed. Something flickered across it that looked like panic. We've talked about this. Now isn't the right time. When will be the right time? I don't know. Why are you pushing this? I set down my fork. Because I don't think you've been honest with me. About what? About where you go, who you see, how you spend our money. Eva's face flushed. Are you seriously questioning me about money when you've been unemployed for 8 months? I've been looking for work every single day. Have you? Because it seems like you've been sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. The words were designed to hurt, and they did. But they also revealed something. She'd been harboring this resentment, using it maybe to justify what she was doing. I found the cash in the bathroom cabinet, I said quietly. Her expression froze. You went through my things? It's our bathroom. And that's our money you're hiding. I'm not hiding anything. I'm saving for something special. What? She stood up abruptly. I don't have to explain myself to you. You're not my father, Owen. She left the kitchen, and I heard our bedroom door slam. I slept on the couch that night. In the morning, Eva was gone before I woke up. She'd left a note saying she had an early appointment at work. I called the dental office at 9 a.m. Hi, is Eva Patterson available? I asked. Eva called in sick today, the receptionist said. Can I take a message? No message. I knew exactly where she was. I drove to Thomas's apartment complex in Fullerton. I'd found his address through a people search website the night before. Eva's car was parked in the visitor lot. I sat there for 2 hours, wrestling with whether to knock on his door, to cause a scene, to shatter whatever fantasy world they'd built. Instead, I took photos of her car, time-stamped and geotagged. More evidence. At 11:30 a.m., they emerged together. Eva wore the same clothes as yesterday. Thomas kissed her goodbye. Not a peck, but a long, lingering kiss that made clear this wasn't casual. I followed them to a cafe in Brea, where they had lunch on the patio. I parked where I could see them, but they couldn't see me. They looked happy. Eva laughed at something Thomas said, touching his hand across the table. She looked like a different person, lighter somehow, unburdened. It occurred to me then that maybe I'd been the burden. Maybe she'd felt trapped in our marriage, weighed down by my dreams of children, by my unemployment, by whatever else I represented to her. Maybe Thomas was her escape route. The realization didn't make it hurt less. That afternoon, I met with Christian again. I want to serve her the papers this week, I said. That's fast. I'm done waiting. He drafted everything, the petition for dissolution of marriage, the property division proposal, all of it. California required a 6-month waiting period, but we could start the clock now. How do you want to serve her? Christian asked. I'll do it myself. I want to see her face. On Thursday evening, I prepared carefully. I'd spent the week documenting everything. Eva's lies about where she was, the money she'd hidden and spent, the photos of her with Thomas. I compiled it all into a folder. Eva came home at 6 p.m., looking cheerful. Hey, she said, dropping her purse on the counter. I'm thinking we should order pizza tonight. I don't feel like cooking. Actually, I need to talk to you about something. She must have heard something in my voice because her smile faded. What's wrong? I handed her the folder. These are divorce papers. I'm filing for dissolution of our marriage. Eva's face went white. She opened the folder, saw the legal documents, then saw the photos underneath. Her and Thomas at the restaurant, outside his apartment at the hotel. Owen. I know everything, I said. I know about Thomas. I know you've been lying to me for months. I know you've been using our money to make yourself more attractive for him. I know you don't want children with me, because you don't want a future with me. She started crying, but they felt like performative tears, the kind meant to manipulate rather than genuine grief. It's not what you think, she said. Then explain it to me. Thomas and we're just friends. He's been helping me through a difficult time. Do you sleep with all your friends, or just the ones who look like that? Don't be cruel. Cruel? Eva, you've been having an affair. You've been spending our money on another man. You've been lying to me every single day. And I'm the one being cruel? She sat down heavily at the kitchen table. I never meant to hurt you. But you did hurt me. Every single day for months, you hurt me. I didn't know how to tell you, she whispered. You're such a good person, Owen. You deserve better than this. Then why did you do it? Eva looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. Because I felt invisible. You lost your job, and it was like you lost yourself too. You stopped seeing me. Everything became about your job search, your disappointment, your dreams of some future family that I'm not sure I ever really wanted. I felt like I was drowning in Thomas. He made me feel like I mattered. The words landed like physical blows. Maybe there was truth in them. Maybe I had become so absorbed in my own failures that I'd stopped noticing hers. You could have talked to me, I said. You could have told me you were unhappy. We could have gone to counseling. We could have tried. Would you have listened? The question hung between us, unanswerable. It doesn't matter now, I said finally. I want a divorce. You can have half the house equity. We'll split everything down the middle. I just want this over. Eva wiped her eyes. Does Thomas know you know? No. And I don't care enough about him to tell him. This is between us. What happens now? Now you sign the papers and we wait 6 months for it to be final. You can stay here until we sell the house, or you can move out. I don't care which. Owen. Please don't, I said. Don't apologize again. Don't explain. Just decide what you're going to do. Eva left that night. She packed a suitcase and drove away, probably to Thomas's apartment, though I didn't ask. The house felt cavernous without her, but also cleaner somehow, like toxic air had been vented. The next day my phone rang. It was John Whitmore, my old friend. Owen, hey. Got a minute? Sure. What's up? I heard you're getting divorced. I'm sorry, man. News traveled fast, apparently. Thanks. Listen, there's an opening in the private security sector. Company called Safeguard Solutions. They're looking for someone with experience. Pays decent, better than unemployment. You're serious? Dead serious. Want me to send you the contact info? Yes. Absolutely. It felt like the universe was offering me a lifeline at exactly the moment I needed it. I interviewed with Safeguard Solutions on Monday. By Wednesday, they offered me the position, security consultant, working with businesses to assess vulnerabilities and improve safety protocols. The pay was actually better than what I had been earning before. I called Christian with the news. This changes my financial picture, I said. Good. It'll make the divorce settlement cleaner. You'll be able to buy out Eva's half of the house if you want, or you can sell and split it. I thought about that house, the dreams I'd built around it, the kids I'd imagined running through those rooms. Maybe it was time to let those dreams go too. Let's sell it, I decided. The divorce proceedings moved forward mechanically. Eva signed the papers without contest. We communicated through lawyers mostly, keeping everything civil and distant. She'd moved in with Thomas officially. I found out through mutual friends who didn't know whether to express sympathy or pretend they didn't know. One of those friends was Elizabeth, Eva's former co-worker from the dental office. She called me one afternoon in May. Owen, I feel like I need to tell you something, she said. What is it? Eva's been talking about you at work. She's been telling people that you were controlling, that you isolated her, that she had to escape the marriage. I felt anger flare, then fade. Does anyone believe her? Some people do. But those of us who actually knew you both, we know that's not true. You were always good to her. She's rewriting history to make herself feel better about what she did. Let her, I said. I don't need to defend myself to people who don't matter. You're handling this better than I would. I'm not handling it well. I'm just handling it. In June, something unexpected happened. Thomas called me. Who is this? I asked when an unknown number appeared on my phone. It's Thomas. Eva's boyfriend. My grip tightened on the phone. Why are you calling me? Because I think you should know something. Eva's been lying to both of us. What are you talking about? She told me you were abusive, that you controlled all the money, that you wouldn't let her have friends, that she was afraid of you. I believed her. But then I talked to some people who actually know you, and none of that's true, is it? No, none of it's true. Thomas was quiet for a moment. She also told me she couldn't have kids. Medical reasons. She said it was something she grieved over, that you blamed her for it. I almost laughed at the absurdity. She doesn't want kids. That was always her choice. And I never blamed her for anything except the affair. Jesus, Thomas muttered. I think she's been playing both of us. Why are you telling me this? Because I broke up with her last night. She started talking about us getting married, about building a life together, and I realized I don't even know who she really is. Everything she told me was designed to make her look like a victim, and you look like a villain. But you're not the villain. She is. What did she say when you broke up with her? She lost it. Completely lost it. Started screaming that I promised her things, that she gave up her marriage for me. But I never promised her anything beyond what we had. She invented this whole future in her head. I felt a strange mix of vindication and pity. Thank you for calling. I appreciate you being honest. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I didn't know she was married when we started. She told me she was separated, that the divorce was already in progress. By the time I figured out the truth, I was already involved. It's done now, I said. We're all moving forward. After hanging up, I sat in my new apartment. I'd moved out of the house in May, letting Eva stay there until it sold, and processed everything. Eva had tried to construct a narrative where she was the wronged party, where her affair was justified by my supposed failures. When that narrative collapsed with Thomas, she'd spiraled. 2 weeks later, the house sold. We split the proceeds exactly 50-50, just as agreed. Eva tried calling me multiple times during the final paperwork, but I let it all go to voicemail. I didn't need closure from her. I'd found my own. In September, 6 months after I'd served her the papers, the divorce was finalized. I was officially single again, working a job I actually enjoyed, living in a small but comfortable apartment, rebuilding. My friend Christian, the lawyer who'd become something of a friend through this process, invited me to dinner to celebrate. You did it, he said, raising a beer. You survived. I did more than survive, I said. I escaped. Have you talked to Eva since the divorce was final? No, and I don't plan to. She's apparently dating again already. Someone from her gym this time, a member, not a trainer. I shrugged. Not my problem anymore. You're really okay? I thought about the question honestly. I'm better than okay. I spent 6 years building a life with someone who wasn't really there. I dreamed about children I'll never have with her. I imagined a future that was never going to exist. And yeah, that hurts. But now I'm free to build something real. With someone who actually wants the same things I want. Whenever I'm ready. That's a healthy perspective. I learned it from being unhealthy for a while. The revenge I'd gotten wasn't nuclear. I hadn't destroyed Eva's life or career. I hadn't exposed her publicly or tried to turn people against her. I'd simply refused to carry the weight of her lies. I'd documented the truth, protected myself legally, and walked away with my dignity intact. When Thomas called to tell me how she deceived him too, that was just confirmation that her patterns would continue. She'd build new narratives, find new people to blame, repeat the cycle with someone else. But none of that was my concern anymore. I was doing well. Better than I'd expected to be 6 months out from discovering my wife's betrayal. The wounds had scabbed over. The worst of the pain had faded to a dull ache that only appeared occasionally. I'd even started thinking about dating again, though I wasn't in any rush. Trust would take time to rebuild, not trust in someone else, but trust in my own judgment. I'd missed so many signs with Eva, ignored so many red flags because I'd wanted so badly for the marriage to work. Next time, if there was a next time, I'd pay attention. Sometimes, I thought about the Owen who'd found that hidden cash in the bathroom cabinet back in spring. That Owen had been scared, confused, betrayed. He'd been clinging to a marriage that was already dead, believing he could save something that had rotted from within. This Owen, November Owen, was different. Stronger. More realistic. Less naive about love and trust, but not closed off to them either. The divorce had cost me a relationship, half a house, 6 years of my life. But it had given me back myself. Eva had sent me a text message the week before, her first direct contact in months. It said, "I'm sorry for everything. I hope you can forgive me someday." I deleted it without responding. Not out of anger, but because there was nothing left to say. Forgiveness wasn't something she was owed, and it wasn't something I needed to give to move forward. I'd simply released her from my life and let whatever happened to her happen without my involvement. According to mutual friends, she'd already cycled through 2 more relationships since Thomas. She'd quit her job at the dental office after too many awkward conversations with former colleagues. She'd moved to Corona, starting over somewhere people didn't know her history. I wished her neither well nor ill. I just wished her elsewhere. As December approached, I signed a lease on a better apartment, started planning a trip to Colorado to visit my parents for Christmas, and accepted that promotion at work that came with a significant raise. Life was rebuilding itself in ways I hadn't anticipated. The divorce was final. The house was sold. The shared accounts were closed. The last legal ties were severed. There was nothing left connecting us except memory, and even those were fading. By Christmas, when I stood in my parents' living room in Denver, watching snow fall outside the window, I felt something I hadn't felt in over a year: peace. My mother hugged me, sensing the change. "You're different," she said. "Better different or worse different? Lighter different. Like you've set down something heavy you'd been carrying too long." She was right. I'd been carrying Eva's betrayal, the weight of failed dreams, the burden of my own hurt pride and wounded heart. Somewhere along the way, between spring and winter, between discovery and divorce, between betrayal and rebuilding, I'd set it all down. The story of my marriage to Eva was over. Whatever she did next, whoever she became, whatever narrative she constructed about our relationship, none of it involved me anymore. I was free, and freedom, I discovered, felt a lot like hope. Thank you for watching the video to the end. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. A playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to is now displayed on the screen. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.